Reggie joined the Marine Corps, he was advised to act tough. That's the only way you command respect in the Corps, his friends said. So little Reggie walked around acting tough and barking out orders. He walked around talking off the side of his mouth. He said one day in the chow hall, "Show me a sergeant and I'll show you an imbecile." Out of nowhere came a 6'4" muscular Marine Corps sergeant. And he said, "I'm a sergeant." To which little Reggie said, "I'm an imbecile." I'll throw you another one. A young naval student was being drilled by an old sea captain. What do you do if suddenly a storm sprang out over starboard? The young man said, "Well, throw out an anchor, sir." The old rusty sailor said, "What would you do if another storm came up?" The young naval student said, "I'll throw out another anchor, sir." The old sea captain didn't want to give up. He said, "If another terrible storm came out of nowhere, what would you do then?" He says, "Throw out another anchor." To which the old sea sailor said, "Hold on, where are you getting all those anchors?" To which the young sailor responded, "Sir, from the same place you're getting all those storms." I'll stop there. Happy birthday, church.
Happy birthday.
Today is the birthday of the church, Pentecost. And to start the church, God just didn't send a mighty wind. He sent the storm. And the church stormed the world, and it painted the town red. But it also painted the town black and white and blue and pink and orange and brown and yellow. It painted with all the colors of the world. And what long divided society, languages and ethnicity and gender and age on Pentecost unites the church and ignites the church. Happy birthday, church. For many years, I thought that the miracle of Pentecost was that they spoke in many languages, which they never learned. Much better than Rosetta Stone, right? The miracle of Pentecost was that the things that often divide us, languages, united the church and ignited the church. And those who were witnesses of the miracle of Pentecost accused the church of being drunk. Wow, what a way to start off the church. The first joke in the Bible was when Peter stood up and said, "We're not drunk. It's too early to get drunk. It's only 9 o'clock." You know, he didn't say, "We don't get drunk." He said, "We're not drunk, at least not yet." Peter attributed the miracle of Pentecost not to wine, but to an Old Testament prophet. It says that in the last day, God will pour out His Spirit upon all flesh. And issues which long divided us will be no more. When the day of Pentecost was fully come, though were many, were in one place and one accord. The church, while still Jewish, didn't speak only Aramaic or Greek, but they spoke from the languages of all over the world: Parthia, Mede, and Egypt, and Mesopotamia, and Rome. The church was no longer local, it was global. And it painted with many colors. It was a tapestry, it was a rainbow. It was no longer just black or white or Asian, it was worldwide. And the promise of salvation was not just for one people, but for many people. There were people from all over the world. They were together regardless of race, ethnicity, or language. Ironically, many of the things that divided up the church back then divides us today. Language often united people back then, divides them today. The church is still segregated. The most segregated time of our world are between Sunday morning, between the hours of 10 and the hours of 12. Yet the church started in a rainbow plurality. They said they were from all nations of the world. The Greek word for nation is the word ethnos, where we get the word ethnicity. They were from all cultures that came together. In God, there is no color, there is no ethnicity. We are all one. Just like when we share the cup, it's a common cup. There will be one. For many years, our denomination, the Reformed Church of America, was known as the Dutch Reformed Church. How many of you remember that, right? I remember not long ago, I was sitting in somebody's living room here from this church. And when she was baptized, back in 1931, okay, so we know somebody not too young, right? It was known as the Dutch Reformed Church of Linden. That was a while back. Up till about 150 years ago, every Reformed church in North America spoke Dutch. That was their heritage. They used Dutch for years in its worship, and it's myths. You go back and study it. When I joined the Reformed Church back in 1989, I thought the Reformed Church was Spanish. Our church was a multi-racial church in New Brunswick, New Jersey, where services were spoken in Spanish and English. We worship God not just in one language, but two. The miracle of Pentecost was that whatever divided people in the Tower of Babel, because they spoke different languages, united them on Pentecost. We spoke with different languages, but we spoke as one. It didn't matter whether we called Jesus Jesus or Jesus. He was still the same Jesus. The miracle of our church was we didn't need Rosetta Stone. The people who spoke English suddenly learned Spanish, and the people who only knew Spanish learned English. Pentecost is bringing people together so that we can worship and work in one language. And it's learning to paint from all the colors of the world. Pentecost, secondly, is a reminder that God does not look at gender. The prophet Joel said, "Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy." On the day of Pentecost, women became preachers and prophets. They spoke, and they spoke powerfully. Over the years, unfortunately, the church has sought to take away the gifts of speech from women.